I always like to do the pledge before we get started, and I do, this is a very small prayer, so flag's right there.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Lord, we give you thanks for this moment. We thank you for the folks that are here. We hope that you help us understand each other. You help me understand some of the needs that they have, some of their concerns, and we give you thanks in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Awesome. Have a seat. I see a lot of new faces, right? And I see some familiar faces. So in my town halls, just so you know, I do very little to no speaking. The goal for that is, I'm sure you guys are all exhausted hearing politicians on the news, at city, whatever. This is my opportunity to hear you, listen to what you have to say, listen to some concerns. Before we ended, I did have a couple of people that asked me about the moratorium, they asked me about the audit, and there was a third one which I have it written down, but I'll answer some of those questions as well. So if you want to get started, because we are recording for, obviously for public record, if you can just step up to the mic, that's the only different thing we're doing this time. Just step up to the mic and you can feel free to ask your questions, concerns. So whoever wants to start, please feel free to start.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Lisa Green, and I've been a resident for over 25 years. I'm a disabled veteran.
Thank you for
And I want to talk about everybody's favorite subject, hurricanes. So last year, I had a tree fall into my yard, but it wasn't my tree, neighbor's tree. I know I still got to take care of it. Landed on my cabana, power's out for a week. I finally call FPL. They give you a ticket. We'll get somebody out there. The tree is on the power line. So I know this is urgent. I have dogs that I can't let back there, whatever. Within a week, nothing happens. I call them again. They say, we'll get somebody out there. I guess somebody came out there when I wasn't there, called them back, tree still on the power line. Come to find out they fixed a box, the electric box. Didn't tell me, whatever. So again, we'll do a new ticket number. I don't want a ticket number. Well, this is the vegetation department. You got to call the vegetation department, on and on. Finally, another week, 3 weeks, somebody comes out, comes to my door. He said, your box has already been fixed. And I go, no. He goes, but you need to call somebody to get that tree off the power line. So I go, okay, I understand the city. I fully understand that. Okay, call county, you can't, that's not us, you gotta call the city. I call the city, that's not us, you gotta call FPL. I call FPL again, you already have a ticket number, you gotta wait. I go, this is now getting absurd. I wanna speak to supervisor. Supervisors don't talk on the phone. Okay, no problem. Next day, trucks are out there, they come and look. Oh, well, we gotta find a way to get in your backyard or whatever. So they take my fence apart, and they run over my septic system, and they do some, out of the 7 people there, 1 is working. All the trees come down, but they're huge. I can't take care of it. I physically can't. So now, to this day, I'm still taking my trash can, taking a couple of limbs, putting them out every Monday, and I still have a backyard that's full of garbage, and my cabana's still laying down there. I just want, if there's something that people can call and speak to somebody and just narrow it down to where we only have to deal with one entity instead of being given the runaround.
So back there, pardon, I'm losing my voice. Back there, I have a business card. If you can email me your information, you're not the first person this has happened to.
Correct.
Talking about destruction of the fence, and unfortunately there are septic tanks. I experienced 2 other residents that I know experienced it with Duke.
Yeah.
Same house, they're in Here's how I dealt with that. They sent me their information via email. I forwarded it to the Duke people. They took care of it. Whenever I get a resident that sends me an email about their vegetation, obviously we have a you can look up in their address who provides services, if it's FPL or Duke. And then what I do is I just forward that email, I copy our city manager, and Ms. Wallace, who's the deputy director for Public Works, and then I send that over to either Duke or FPL. Because unfortunately, I've come to the conclusion, and this is not bashing any of the two companies, it's just not, there's something that isn't working, and unfortunately, they usually come to fix a box. I don't understand what the box is for. I'm assuming it's an electrical box. But even that, I mean, from my understanding, that's supposed to be done by a general contractor, not by the power company. So if you don't mind, and I'll give you the card before you leave. But send me that information and let's get together and I'll see what I can do to help you take care of that, okay?
Okay, thank you, I appreciate it.
Good evening, Mayor. My name is Doug McDonald. I've been a resident here since 1992. I voted for you. I must say, I had surgery last year and I haven't been able to attend all the meetings that I used to go to religiously. So I just want to talk to you about your performance. I don't have any particular problem with my neighborhood or my home. I will tell you that the previous mayor, who I supported immensely along the way, was a terrible mayor. It was absolutely atrocious, and she's one of the reasons why we're at where we're at. That's why I voted for you. So I will tell you that you've done a great job as far as this bridge. I've been reading a little bit about it from time to time. I'm still looking for it, and we need it, but thank you. You're the first one in all my years that's paid any attention to that flooding out there, and so you're to be commended. I just...
I appreciate that, Mr. McDonald. I can tell you that we received a grant for $2 million, or something like that, to elevate that road. I was in a very difficult position because I've been advocating for a bridge.
Right,
from
for a
day
long
one.
time. Absolutely right.
So
I need it.
if I would have voted no, we would have lost the $2 million. So
Right.
I'm put in a situation where ethically it was the right thing to do. Either I went with my ego and I didn't vote for it and we lose the funding, or
Yeah.
I did what was at the moment the best for the residents and voted for the $2 million. Now, from what I'm being told, that's for designing, and then there's some other folks like Mr. French here that probably knows how those processes work a lot better than I do. But that's for designing phases and things like that. Later on, there could be a potential to look at what it would cost to do the bridge.
Yeah.
My biggest issue is an elevated road. Water is one of the strongest forces in this planet.
Right.
I don't care if it's blocked, whatever it is, it's gonna bring that road right back down, and we're back at the starting point. So my idea for the bridge was it unites the two bodies of water, and then you can even open it up so people can actually paddleboard, canoe, boat ride there. A culvert, I mean, you're gonna run into the risk of one of our friendly alligators just waiting to take a bite out of crabs.
Right. So I'll give you the credit for that. Several other things bother me, though.
Yeah. Please.
I'm not here to criticize.
No,
I'm
no,
just
please,
stating the
that's
facts. I happened to be in a meeting one night a long time ago when some lady attacked you verbally, you, from the audience. Hope she's not here.
She's not, I know.
I don't remember her name. In fact, I didn't see much of her. But she said F-U-C-K to you. Why didn't you, eject her? What? There was something about, you didn't seem to be bothered by it. It bothered me.
I've learned to understand that. I will tell you that is one of the biggest things I beat myself up on. My first 2.5 years of being mayor, I allowed what the former mayor had started. To John's credit and Mulder's credit, they didn't allow that. But I'm a big believer in freedom of speech, right? But I've also learned that, actually I can tell you exactly when this happened. Last year during hurricane season, we had a special commission meeting to get things in place for the incoming hurricane. When he got elected, some of you might remember, we had close to 200 houses flooded. This time, it was in the teens, or the 20s or something like that. Still too many, but residents came up, and it's only usually 2 or 3, and they were yelling and screaming. And I said to myself, that was the moment that I said, you know, this is where we're supposed to be coming together as a community. And instead, we're cursing and we're fussing, and we're trying to run a professional meeting, and I have people in the audience screaming. Right. So after that, if you look at I know you haven't been to one because, you know, right. But if the next time you come to one, you will see that. Good. I don't allow that anymore. As a matter of fact,
you shouldn't have to take that.
It's very unfortunate. I've now had to throw out a couple of people from the commission meetings.
Good. Good.
You have people coming to the podium. They have a right to petition the government for grievances. While that person is speaking, that person deserves a right to be heard by the commission. If Maria starts yelling while you're speaking, Maria's out of order. She's interrupting your time. So I can't allow that. The clapping, and you know, there's a former person that yells, "Oh, he kicked me out because I was clapping." Well, the room is just silent. Nobody's really talking about anything specific, and you start clapping for no reason. You want to get kicked out on purpose. So, to your point, that's what I beat myself up on.
Right. So. Just 2 more things, and I'll sit down. As I said, I've been here since 1992, and to give you some statistics from the U.S. Bureau of the Census, this city is now 38% Hispanic.
47.
That was as of 2020. Okay. And it's growing. I see that. Of that number, which is a governmental-wide number, I will tell you that 50% of the residents here, Hispanic, do not speak English. I want them to be here and communicate and pay their fair share and become citizens of Florida and of our city and contribute. I'm not against Hispanics being here, but I want them to contribute, and you can't contribute when you don't speak English. Yeah. That's my opinion. So I would ask the city to do something to help these people learn English. The county will not do it. I tried that, and the state of Florida, forget it. So I'll just bring that to your attention. Maybe you're Hispanic, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm Cuban, and I'm half Cuban, half Mexican. I was born in Chicago, so. Here's what I can tell you on that. So one of the early things that I started trying to do was English classes for Spanish speakers, and we probably had like 3 or 4 people show up. So what I do now is Daytona State College actually has English courses.
Yeah,
as a matter of fact, my mother-in-law participated in that. It's very affordable. What was that, 30 bucks?
30 bucks a month.
For the whole semester?
Yeah, for the whole semester.
For the whole semester. So I refer them to that. All you gotta do is prove that you're a resident of the city, or of the county actually, and that's it. So I refer them to that.
I want the Puerto Rican Hispanics to feel welcome, to know that they're welcome here, as long as they're working, speaking English, and paying taxes like the rest of us on a W-2, rather than just in cash, but we'll let that go. And the other thing is, I want to wish you the best. You've had a rocky time of it. I know that. The only other thing I wanted to point out was, I've noticed since this vice mayor, I forget his name, is no longer on the board. He was defeated. I think the meetings have been run better for you and for all the rest of us, because I know he was a thorn, but I liked him anyhow. But anyhow, good luck.
Thank you so much. Anybody else want to get up and speak? Hey, Terry.
I'll get up.
Oh, I just said hey, Terry. I just said hi to you.
No, that was Doug.
Mr.
No, I have something to say. But...
Would you like to come?
No.
Mr. Mayor, thank you for the opportunity to do in town hall. I'm Larry French. You know me. My wife and I, we've been here even earlier than the gentleman who was just preceding me. So we've seen lots of changes in Deltona. And one thing that I have seen over the past year or so, things are gradually getting better, even though we sometimes have the circus performances and stuff like that during the meetings. It seems like we're starting to make progress. I'm especially appreciative of this opportunity for this meeting, and I wish other commissioners would do these kind of meetings, because we often don't have the opportunity to talk more than 2 compressed or 4 compressed minutes, and it can be very frustrating for the public and And as it was the other night, waiting 4 hours to speak for 2 minutes is a real deterrent to working people who want to be a participant in their government, to actually be there and say something. It's hopefully we're going to get there. But the main thing I wanted to say, in addition to thanking you for the effort you're putting forward, is my biggest concern on this moratorium thing was, and one of the things I had spoken about at both the meetings I attended, was getting to the actual parts of our code that deal with how a development takes place. Those kind of things a lot of times are not addressed in these kind of meetings, or when we talk about the moratorium, it's talking about the size of this and size of that. But there are so many environmental aspects that have not been taken into consideration for decades. And we've seen the result of it. I think it's all cumulative, and it brings about a lot of the different problems we have, not just the flooding, but aesthetics. But I would encourage you and anybody else to try to find out as many ways that we can get not only our commission, but also the staff that deals with our development to find out how we can implement a lot of these newer techniques that can minimize flooding, that can reduce the amount of habitat destruction that we have. The excellent example is, we've just seen in the news across the road, interstate there from the hospital, they're going to tear down hundreds of massive, hundreds of year oak trees for a development. And again, that's not our problem, but the land is doing that. But we do the same thing here, basically, where the designers who plan those things don't plan around the trees. They just eliminate the trees and do their planning. And that's the kind of stuff that gets us in trouble in the long run. Yeah, so, keep up your good efforts.
So here's what I can tell you, Mr. French. So before I got elected, I sat down several times with Mr. French, and I kind of picked his brain on some stuff. I think it starts with the land development codes. You taught me that. They have not been updated in who knows how long.
Decades.
They're being updated now. Okay, they're working on it, and I know it takes time, but my goal was to update our land development codes and then work on a strategic plan, which is, we need to do it by law. But when you're getting developers that are coming and they're asking for rezones, that's when you can tell your land development code is not working, or we're not speaking up and talking about redoing things. So to your point, and since you brought up the moratorium, I watched the P&Z meeting from my office. I watch every P&Z meeting because I appointed you, I appointed Pat Northey. I want to hear what you guys have to say, right?
I know, but they didn't list that night.
No, well, they usually don't. But I need to listen to what you guys are saying, because a lot of you bring different perspectives and different backgrounds in your life that I think make that board a very important one, right? That moratorium that we just passed, we still got another reading. We are setting our city up for so much failure, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm not going to play the fear tactics, that's stupid. If we don't agree with the development, we simply vote no. If developers have a vested right, 100%. When they're coming to us for a rezone, they don't have a right to do that. That's why they're asking us for permission. So instead of putting us at odds with our state legislators, our governor, and everybody else, that right now we have $3 million pending to come to the city of Deltona, just vote no. It's really that simple. But we're setting ourselves up. Number one, I love the concessions that were made at P&Z. I was a no, but then you guys said, well, let's remove infills, let's remove mixed use. And if Senate Bill 180 goes through, it sunsets. I was getting ready to vote yes for that. 100%, I have no issue. But it's a political game that's being played right now. And I'm sick and tired of, and I'm not talking about the commission, but I'm sick and tired of this, and it seems like it's every commission, somebody's different. We play these stupid games, and we play with people's emotions. How many of you had some flooding in your houses? Raise your hand.
Not in the house.
Not in the house.
But in your property. Yeah, so if I have a commissioner saying, well, all development is the reason why we're flooding, no, our land development codes need to get fixed. Instead of pushing more time, let's rush the impact fees. So the 24 people that are not gonna get affected by this moratorium, do you know if we rush the impact fee study and we process it before they actually start building, they'll get affected by the new impact fees.
That's right.
That's what we should be concentrating on,
But
not something that isn't gonna do anything.
That big, long sheet, yeah.
Yes.
Exhibit A, yeah.
Secondly, what has me extremely annoyed, I personally know somebody in District 6. He just bought a plat of land, and then he got annexed into Deltona, off of Osteen, okay? Because of the utilities or whatever, that part got annexed in. Obviously, I'm not gonna say the name or anything, because he's literally living off his RV in his property. Half an acre lot. He can no longer build his house on his property, because we said that in-lots, infills can only be 1 acre or more. So now he is stuck until whatever time the moratorium or SB sets in, he can't build his house. He's not a corporation. He's not. And the last thing is, when I ran, and even after, we talked about building a downtown, right? There's some people that agree with it, some people that don't. One of my biggest critics that was against the downtown, we sat down together, we had lunch. I showed him some of the downtowns like City Place in West Palm, where they use a lot of greenery. That's the whole point. They have little trails, they have things so the family can go hang out, have a good time without destroying our environment, right? We just added mixed use in, so where we want commercial on the bottom and housing on top, that's gone. That's gone. And those are concessions that you guys made, and that's why, even though right now there's a couple people pushing a political agenda out there, oh, the mayor is pro-development. Those of you that know me, I took, you know how much money I took from developers when I ran? 0. So that doesn't fit my case. Halifax project, they were gonna build 1,300 houses. 1,300 houses. I called the developer up, and I'm sure 2 other ones did as well, but I called the developer up. Hey, do you mind if we meet? Here's what I'm gonna propose. And instead of building all these houses, can we go from 20 acres to like 70 acres? Actually, I pushed for 90 acres, but can we do at least 70 acres, which is what we agreed on? I said, can we have an area where we can put some restaurants in? Can we reduce the housing from 1,300 to 500? You know what he told me? Yes. We fought on the commercial part on how much acres, but at the end of the day, he reduced the residential to 22 acres and increased the commercial to 70-something acres.
Because we have so little commercial.
That is what we're supposed to be doing, though. So then we sit down, we're in the middle of a commission meeting, and somebody's bickering about, oh my God, we tabled this for indefinite. Well, that's not the way the law works. I'm sorry. You should have learned. But we're there. He's literally saying, okay, I'll concede this. Okay, I'll change this back to age-restricted housing. He's giving us everything we want. And we still have people complaining. So he doesn't have to come to us because he's already vested and he has the right to build 1,300 houses. My goal as mayor is to do what you guys want. I'm going to straight up tell you because it already left. That Sam that's going over there to the land, that was coming to there to Deltona. It's all public record now. I worked for over a year and a half to try to bring that Sam's to Deltona. Now the land's going to get it, or unincorporated Volusia's going to get it. Costco was considering the Deltona location. But we as a commission, I don't know what it is about the city, we just don't have our act together. And nobody wants to come do business.
Never has.
So that is, so you guys are aware, that is where I stand because for the moratorium. If we can remove the infills, if we can remove the mixed use from that thing, let's push the moratorium, that's fine. But we just can't blanket tell everybody we're gonna stop building. We have a list of 24 projects that are still gonna get built and tell everyone nothing's coming. Yes, 24 projects are being built. Don't lie to people because it's a flat out lie. Anybody else? Terry's gonna yell at me.
No, I would never do that.
At least not in public.
I don't know where to start. Hello, does this go any higher? I'm sorry, I'm so tall. There we go, thank you. Okay, so, I'm not going So the moratorium. Boy, what bothers me about the subject of the moratorium is this. Obviously, there's differences of opinions. I was really very offended by the meeting, not this one, the one before that, with all of the emotionalism. I felt, because the information that came from the folks that opposed it, some of the points I was like, that's interesting, okay. But when you add the emotionalism into it, so much gets lost. And this is one thing that I would like to see the city do going forward. I don't remember, I've seen this a few times, not too much, but it would have been more helpful had staff collected information from the commissioners in advance, not about what you're going to vote, but what's your thoughts? What's your pros, what's your cons? Let's see that in one document, a benefits versus risk document. I think that document would have driven a more professional conversation, and the good and the bad about both sides. Everyone would have had access to that information instead of it getting lost in in emotionalism. So personally, I felt very cheated as a resident. Second, it really bothered me as a resident because, for anyone that's sitting on that dais, what I think of you professionally, personally, whatever, I've said this many, many times at the mic. You will never, ever, ever, ever see me on the dais. I have a personal reason for that. And part of that is because I've been involved in politics for 45 years. And, I know that you get dragged through the mud, your family gets dragged through the mud sometimes. You give up a lot personally. And so anybody that's sitting up there on that dais, I give them some grace. Because for them to even be up there, it's tough. And besides the fact that, you only get paid, basically the people at Buc-ee's get paid more than you do per hour. So, I really do take that into consideration. But when I see the commissioners browbeating one of the folks up there on the dais, so if I'm giving you grace, but the folks up there on the dais are not giving each other grace, it makes me stop and think, well, what do you think of the people? What do you think of the residents if this is how you treat each other? So it was really, really very distressing. You know me, I'm always going to go back to what's the process? What is a process improvement that could possibly prevent things? So doing that risk-benefit analysis and having that information and letting that drive the conversation, I think would have been very productive. Then also in last night's meeting, so I want to talk about this conversation with Doc. About the motion with Doc. I was really very disappointed because, first of all, when we were going through this last exercise of hiring a mayor, several folks brought up, city manager, hiring a city manager, but, the question was raised, so we're going to hire this guy, give him a job description, and say, okay, here you go, have at it, have fun. Usually when you hire a new employee, and certainly someone that carries the weight of his position, you have some kind of onboarding in place, and that onboarding includes some evaluations. So you're having there's a formal plan, and you're having those conversations and making those tweaks along the way. It's basically setting that person up for success, setting you up for success as a corporation, and setting that person up for success to carry out the job that you hired them to do. So then last night, or Monday night, Lord, this is Wednesday? Woo! So Monday, I know. So Monday night, for us to be having a conversation about a vote of no contest, first of all, I'm like, so we don't have anything in place in between. You're doing a great job, and maybe not. So we're going to have a vote of no confidence. I'm like, there's nothing in between, really? Well, that's because the city hasn't put anything in between. And then when I listened to the conversation, you know, most folks were saying, listen, Doc, you're doing a pretty good job in a lot of areas. There's some things that I don't like, you know, and these are some examples of things that I don't like. And so we're having a conversation about a vote of no confidence, but yet the folks that are up there are testifying to the fact that, for the most part, he's doing a pretty good job. So I'm like, well, that's pretty contrary. The whole thing was really a coaching conversation. But yet we're wasting time, your time, the residents' time, having a conversation, a vote of no confidence, when it was really a coaching conversation. That to me was pretty sad. Thank goodness, you know, Nick proposed, you know, something basically equal to a coaching conversation. You know, it's, you know, you're doing pretty good. There's some tweaks that need to happen. This has happened, and I don't feel very good about it. So what can we do to overcome this and do better? And which leads me to one thing that I don't see us doing as a city is whenever we do have conflicts, situations, problems, we seem to don't get to the point where we have a conversation about the process. What can we put in place so that when something like this comes up again, we're not going to have the same type of problem? What could we do better? We never seem to have those lesson learned conversations and process tweaks. So, you know, as we have these difficult situations, I just wish that somebody on the dais would think about lessons learned and what could we do better? What do we need to put in place? Who needs to be doing what? So that we don't have this situation again. I think that we are, you know, we're wasting a lot of opportunity when we're not stopping to look at our lessons learned.
So I'll address a couple of those, right? So what they did to Doc was, in my opinion, and I'm speaking for myself, 100% unacceptable.
100% what?
Unacceptable.
Yes,
He's definitely, he's not perfect.
yeah.
But let's be sincere about something.
And
And I'm gonna use you if that's okay. You've emailed me a couple times, and sometimes I don't reply to you. You'll get my auto response, so at least you get that. It's not that I didn't read it or anything like that. It's a lot, but I do read it, right? And sometimes I honestly just forget to respond, but I do read it. Here's the issue with that. We are big hypocrites, and I'm gonna say myself, right? Just so nobody else on the dais gets offended. We're big hypocrites because a lot of our residents email us, text us, and call us, and we don't respond. But then we're here bashing a manager that has to run 400 employees and deal with quote-unquote 7 bosses. One of them that emails him 14 times during the day, okay? Not only that, one of us on that dais also constantly posts attacking the city manager, attacking other commissioners.
No, that's not
I
right.
think today I was called a thief by this commissioner. I mean, there is sincere issues. So to your point, does Doc need to work on some communication stuff? You know how many times I told Doc, we have vehicles out there right now, even today, if you go down Fort Smith, I know they're working on some fiber optic stuff, but we're trenching all the ponds, we're cutting the grass, we're making sure that
I noticed that.
yeah, things are being maintained because we're hurricane season's full blown. I told them, get our PIO out there, right? Because I can't tell PIO what to do, I can't direct staff. Get them out there, take a couple pictures, and post it so residents are seen. That's a good way to communicate, right? We have Instagram, we have X, we have Facebook. Use all of them. Who cares, right? Who cares? Use it. But to sit here and what they did to him, to your point, 100%, 100%, it was unacceptable. I didn't agree with it. Another point, after I got put through my quasi-judicial, I have asked consistently, can we look at for future people that get elected, and I guess this could apply for a city manager, right, which I hope we don't have to use, some type of an onboarding for elected officials. We get elected and we get like 3 binders. One of them is like this thick. And they tell me, the most important thing you have to worry about is the charter, which is like this thick. It's really small, right? But then there's policies and procedures, and look, we all make mistakes. I've already owned up to the whole DC trip thing, and people want to, for political reasons, because their buddies are running for mayor, they want to push it to a nauseam. That's their problem. But if we had some type of an onboarding, to your point, just 1 or 2 days, even if you have to pay that elected official for their day off from work, here's what is expected from you. Here is what your rules and your role is, so you don't have people that are on the dais coming in, telling staff what to do, getting rid of city managers and deputy city managers without any of us knowing. So we don't have that issue. And part of the instability in our city is really because of the commission. We keep turning over city managers like they're waffles or something. I don't know, pancakes. It's 7 since in the last couple of years, at 21 in total. It's
Crazy.
it's
19 altogether.
well, and then we wonder why, you know, the IRS thing went through. Thankfully, they caught it, they fixed it, we got some money back. But yes, we need some type of onboarding, not only for city managers, but also for elected officials.
That's just common sense.
Yeah. Anyone else?
I got one statement. I would like to end my last statement positively. I think you have a program that's called our Hometown Hero or something like that. I found out about that on Memorial Day, but is there any way that, like, you have the marquees all over the place, that you could put some information on there so, you know, the whole city knows about it?
So I will tell you, this is the very first year that gets done. So I reached out to former Commissioner Lauren King and his lovely wife Sue and Pedro, who are members of the American Legion. And I remember walking through the land, and they had all these hometown hero marquees, and I was like, that's so awesome. Why is the largest city in Volusia, second largest in all Central Florida, if Pompos doesn't catch up, why don't we have this? We have the largest veteran population. Why are we not honoring our veterans? So we got together. It took us 2 years. I removed myself from the equation so nobody can say this is the mayor's pet project. I helped design the flyer. I helped design that flyer, okay? And we pushed everything through. Lauren and Sue did all the heavy lifting. They get all the credit for that, but this is our first year. So that's why you only see them down Providence. So we're hoping, I know Avon, I spoke to them. They agreed to make some donations so we can get more folks. I reached out to Halifax. I don't know if they've done anything yet, but we're hoping that by next year, the program will expand a lot. But this is our first year, and I'll try to share it more often on my social media. And since Jake is here, maybe, you know, he can talk to Catherine to maybe post it again, because
I think the price is a little high, but,
that's set by that organization. We can't even mess with the price. That's why I look for sponsors. So for example, when I spoke to Avon Health, I was able to get a $2,000 donation,
okay,
which I think took care of 10 veterans, because I think it's $200.
yes.
So it took care of 10 veterans. So I reached out to Halifax, I asked them for the same. I reached out to a couple other businesses.
Okay.
So it's still ongoing, and I mean, let's see. Some folks didn't want to take the sponsorship, they want to pay themselves.
Okay.
So I know Commissioner King's wife, if you look at his marquee on Providence, it says, in the middle it says, loving wife, Sue Kino. So, yeah. But thank you for bringing that up, because that was one of the things that I can say, at least I know that this got done.
It's awesome. It is awesome.
Check.
Yeah. He is such a well-behaved dog.
He's just saying hi. Hello, Mayor. How are you? Giannina Monzon, been living in Deltona for 3 years. I came from living in a big city, Miami. So we wanted to leave the big city to come to a small town. And we came in the transition of you coming on as mayor. And we've been watching, our family has been watching how you've really just done some great and positive things in the city. Being a mom of small kids, I have a son in college, one in high school, and one in preschool. I have a different view to see as a mom, right, in how things are happening in our community. And I've seen such wonderful things, programs, I mean, how you're involved with the schools, seeing you supporting all of the schools, the public schools and the private schools, seeing your dedication for the next generation, right? The future of Deltona. I know that just seeing your involvement in that and that the children see you, right, at the schools, that's been great, because that also allows them to understand that elected officials understand civic duty and that they're regular people, right? And they are truly servants, and they're in the city. So I think it's been a positive example for you, for the kids to see you present, right? That's something good. As well as the all of the playgrounds that are all getting uplifts. We needed it. I mean, we want to take our kids to the playground. So to see those projects, come through has been amazing. And I know the kids are excited. I know the camps, and just, again, there's so many young families that are moving here, that to see that it's a priority for the city and, for you has been wonderful to witness. Another thing, too, was I attended Deltona University, which was amazing, and I got to meet Terry there and so many other citizens, which were great because, the opportunity to participate, I know there's other cities across America, they do this, and it's been successful. So to see that that's something, again, an opportunity for us as residents to participate and to learn and to meet the leaders and to get their cards and to ask those questions. Again, creating opportunities for the residents to get involved has been extremely positive. I learned so much, especially about the codes and code enforcement, but just really and appreciate and just to say thank you to all the hard work that they do in our city. And to understand where our taxes are going, right? It's not in vain. Creating that opportunity for people to say, those who want to get involved, because you can say there's no opportunity, but there is plenty of opportunity. We've seen that in these past couple of years. It's just about advocating and having the residents say, well, I'm going to make the time to invest and be present, so I can say that I know what's happening in my city. Another thing, too, was really just on, I said all these positive things, but also just disappointing to see the dais, again, the conflict, the chaos, so unprofessional. But again, in a positive note, I think it's the city is, because of all the talks, people are paying attention. And people, I believe, are going to get more involved. People are going to be showing up to vote, right? People are going to be saying, hey, okay, something happened, there's all this turmoil, so we need to really vet these candidates and hold them accountable. So even though it's been negative, I feel it's been a wake-up call for people, because you see it on, and yeah, even social media, there's a couple people that say things, but that's not everybody. We're working citizens, we are grateful, and we could never really truly understand what it is the way to serve in our city. So just thank you, your family, and even all the other elected officials. But it is disheartening to see the chaos and how unprofessional, sitting together and disrespecting each other. It's been disheartening, but I feel that others will feel led to want to run and get involved and change the standard of our city. I think we're moving in a positive direction. So thank you for all your support.
Thank you. The amount of people I see here, I see some new faces, right? Terry, correct me if I'm wrong, sometimes this is what we get at commission meeting. Probably a little bit more, give or take a few people.
Because nobody wants to sit there
Well,
for 4 hours.
It depends on the subject. Yeah, well, listen, the last 3 commission meetings have been back-to-back the longest that I've ever had.
No,
My commission meetings are usually,
we have earlier ones years back that would,
oh, I know,
like till
midnight.
midnight.
I remember one, but
But seriously, people walked out Monday because and I don't know why the agenda was the way the agenda was, I don't know. I wasn't gonna say anything, but I don't know who sets the agenda and the way things run, whether it's the city manager or whatever, but this being my profession for many years, would think that the most important thing that affects the most residents should be first and foremost on the agenda, not I was trying to think of a nice word, not berating your city manager because you have a personality conflict with him, not having a cat fight. Literally, I was watching a cat fight Monday night between the three women. I'm going, what on earth? And people got up and left because 4 hours, and I was out of line, I'm sorry, but
I understood you were frustrated.
very frustrated. So you sit and you wonder why people don't come, because they're not going to sit there for 4 hours to talk for 2 minutes. But yet, I understand you supposedly have a 5-minute limit for the council, but when you take that 5 minutes 5 times,
Here's, and I don't mean to interrupt.
no, that's fine, we lose it.
We are supposed to be governed by Robert's Rules of Order, right?
I think some of the members need to read them.
Well, I get blamed for stuff, but whatever, whatever's good for the goose is good for the gander, right? I'm not to blame anyone, but I am getting more strict with the time constraints. Because under Robert's Rules of Orders, you speak twice on an item, 5-minute limit, each
Right.
time. Plain and simple. What ends up happening is, I'll get, without mentioning that person's name, either you take control or we'll take control of it. What is that supposed to mean? I still don't understand when they said that to me, I was like, what is that supposed to mean? I think I run my meetings pretty damn well. So, you speak out of a line, the hissing, the consistent, like,
I mean, when she said, I'm gonna extend it another hour, and it was already like 9:45, I'm like,
I agree with Commissioner Avila Vasquez on that one. Look, I've always been a big advocate of workshops, we get 2 minutes to speak as a resident. And commission meetings, we get 4 minutes to speak. My advocacy has always been, can we flip those around? That's been my advocacy all my life, right? Instead of the commission meetings, make those 2, but make the workshops 4. Workshops are supposed to be where we
Workshops.
speak and work with our residents and amongst each other, right? Somehow that all morphed into the mayor wants to kill our free speech and all this other stuff, and I was like, whatever. But workshops are supposed to be a lot more fluid than they are now.
right.
And I see people come up to the mic when it's a workshop item, and I like to see public comment after every single item, and we get to talk. In 4 minutes, you get to say a lot.
Right.
In 2, you don't get to say anything.
No.
So when I go to a workshop, I go, and my mentality is I'm going to work to learn and figure out what we're going to bring to a commission meeting. In a commission meeting, I already know how I'm going to vote for each individual item because I already did my homework before. If we go to a commission meeting not knowing how we're going to vote, we got serious problems.
And that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Or you're trying to grandstand and get everybody else to do.
So Maritza was right on that. I give her that.
Oh, yeah. It's
But-
just very frustrating as a resident that, you make the effort, especially young families, and you make the effort, you get a babysitter, you come, and you sit there for 4 hours plus to get 2 minutes if you're lucky. That's why people don't come. That's why people don't come. Or they leave in the middle of the meeting because they have to. So just, if there was a way to get, all right, we have to, on the agenda, we have a decorum that we have to do, right? Doesn't the council have the same thing? It's not being followed.
That is why when a certain commissioner started cursing on the dais, I literally thought I was talking to one of my children. I looked at her and I said, on this dais, we don't do that. You act professional. That's what happens when you let our emotions run wild.
Emotions are good, but they have to be controlled.
You guys elected me to vote based on the letter of the law. An ordinance, even though it doesn't supersede state law,
Right.
but an ordinance is like the rule for the city. And when I get presented with items, I am supposed to take my emotion out. The bridge situation is a perfect example. Do I want a bridge? Heck yes. The bridge can be funded 90% by a grant, and it would be cheaper to pay the 10% than it would to continue with the study, and but we were gonna lose $3 million, which pays for a big chunk of it. So I took my emotion out and I voted how I'm supposed to vote. But when you're putting too much emotion in it, emotion is great, but if you're putting too much into it, you end up with attacking your city manager for no reason, while you're saying, you know what my biggest issue with that was, Terry? I knew the deadline to submit our report on it, right? You know, I was the only one that submitted it the day I was supposed to. So we haven't submitted,
Your performance, the performance
Yes.
house?
yes,
Why?
Because they didn't.
I have no idea. I mean, listen, after I went to the quasi-judicial, I try to make sure I'm like, I don't miss anything, but, so we haven't all submitted a performance evaluation, and we are scolding him publicly.
Wait. Wait. Everyone had not, I'm so sorry, everyone had
No.
not submitted their
No.
performance eval?
No.
And then we're having the conversation and
Yes.
vote of no confidence?
Yes.
Oh, that's such crap.
Well, that was the point I was trying to make is, so from my understanding from the private sector, right, and I know it's different from government, you get a performance evaluation. When I worked in banking for all my life. I get a performance evaluation. Then after that, I get a time frame to look at my performance evaluation.
Yeah.
Then, it
Respond.
depends on the bank, right? One of them, I sat with my peers, usually it was 3 of them.
Right.
We went through it. The other one, I would sit with them individually, and we would go through it. But we didn't do that. That's the point I'm trying to make. How is the person that's
That's not
managing
right.
supposed to know their issues when they haven't received their evaluation? Now, I'm full disclosure, it's gonna be public anyways. I gave him all 5s, but I was very critical of a couple of things. Number 1, I told him he needs to learn to delegate. That's number 1. Number 2, I know there's commissioners. The other day he was with his wife and his daughter, who goes to West Point. They were in the movie theaters. They were watching Top Gun, which is the funniest thing in the world. And he comes out of the movie theater where he's spending time with his family after hours to take a certain commissioner's call. I said, Doc, that's unacceptable. We have parameters. Unless it's an emergency, you should not be getting a call. To call you to tell you that I'm upset because I didn't get a record, that can wait for the next day. So to your point, he didn't receive his evaluation from everyone yet. So,
So what can be done to make our elected officials follow the rules that are in? We have rules as residents that we have to, why aren't they following them?
I don't know, we,
You have a sergeant at arms or something?
no, so we have the sheriff's office. That's what we have.
You have a what?
The sheriff's office, that's essentially our sergeant at arms. We can toss out a commissioner if the rest of the commission agrees with it.
That'll never happen.
But
That's not good.
No, it would look
That just
horrible,
makes
right?
us look worse.
It'll look horrible.
We would be on the national news for that one.
Listen, I think Nick brought up a good point, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how we do that. I know that, trying to air out our grievances with each other, it still has to be done under the sunshine.
Right.
Because our state legislators give us rules that they don't have to follow. Right? But it could happen. The issue that we have is you have 1 or 2 agitators. I'm not gonna mention anyone because I'm not talking about anybody specifically, right? Or I can mention one who is a former elected official. We have some agitators in the crowd that want to see the fight.
Yes.
Oh,
They
yeah.
want to see the fight. So it's really, look, the last 2 commission meetings, and I've apologized profusely about what happened between the vice mayor and the other lady, to residents.
I missed that one.
I stayed very quiet the last 2 commission meetings because I felt that at that time, my opinion wasn't what mattered. It was making sure that there was order in those meetings,
You're right.
which I tried to bring order back to it when they started fighting each other. Because I was very critical of the former mayor when something like that happened. And she took a recess. That's not the way you do it. You bring it back in and you stop it. And if they start talking over you, forget it. I'm the person running the meeting. Like it or not, my residents put me in there. So you guys can hate me all you want, but I got elected by the residents, by a majority, so we need to keep order to that point. So what do we do? I don't know, Robin. Maybe Nick's idea works out. I'm not sure. Just think about this. We're
To
pushing.
Terry's point, it's just so disheartening to see people who are supposed to be going to debts acting like kindergartners.
It's a lot of it is
And
politics.
It's really hard for you guys to push back on the residents when mom and dad are not setting forth a good example. When I say mom and dad, I'm
You
talking
remember
about
that was because you got
I've
it.
got on you guys a few times and said, I feel like I'm talking to my grandkids.
And then I started laying it down with Dana, who who, by the way, we have a good relationship now, but when Dana was up there, I used to have to tell Dana. Jody, I mean, seriously? Like, every other word was almost a bad word. I'm like, dude,
Right.
how can I, with a straight face, yell at a resident and tell a resident that they're out of order when you're the knucklehead that's doing it worse than anyone else? I can't do that. So what can we do? I don't know the answer to
It
that.
needs to be constructive. If it's not constructive, then
But
It's
again,
political. There's a lot of politics in it.
it always has been. We've been here 44 years.
so we're not gonna change it.
And it's,
I think there's a way to change it.
I still think that some of it is because we don't have processes in place sometimes. Like I said, even having if there had been a benefits risk document, then that would have taken some of the emotionalism out of the conversation.
I don't think so.
Maybe.
Let's
It
see.
could have, I'll put it that way. It might not have because there's always agendas that people are trying to push, but
We're all guilty of it. I have mine.
everybody's guilty,
I have
yeah.
mine.
Hey, listen, I had to do a public apology not too long ago, remember that? So, yeah, it happens. But still, if you have some things in place, sometimes it can guide some things that you get a
Sure.
better outcome.
You'll always have theater.
Yeah, you're always gonna have theater, yeah.
Here's, because we're almost done. So, I've somewhat addressed the moratorium situation that you guys heard. Here's my issue with, that I'm having with this audit, right?
Oh, the audit one.
I was part, this is before I got elected, I was part, I think, Terry, I think you were part of it too, right? The auditing committee for the Deltona Water
Yeah.
Department? I thought it was $200,000. We spent $250,000 for that forensic audit. What came out of that was so minimal. Something came out, because you're always gonna find something, but we spent 10 times more than what was caught, right? The auditors that were there, I specifically asked them very pointed questions, because I sincerely want to know, right? Not because our manager's doing anything wrong. We've had too many changes in managers, right? I think we're looking in the wrong areas. A forensic audit, you know how hard it is to steal from government? Maybe that happens in places like where I was born in Chicago, who knows, because those are huge cities and nobody finds them. You have Miami-Dade County, that $140 million in a shortfall. When I asked the auditor, are we going bankrupt? No. Is there any trajectory? To your point, they use data, they use reports. They don't see that. They see that we're in a very good fiscal situation. I think what we need to focus on is operations. That's just my thought. But when you're talking about, we have 9 departments in the city of Deltona. When you let's not focus on 250,000. Let's focus on 200,000. When you're looking at 9 departments times 2, that's $1.8 million for just one. There's 2 audits in that. So now we're going to spend $3.6 million to perform an audit. To get what?
waste of money.
So I'd rather get those $3.6 million out of our budget and use it to fix some stormwater stuff.
Yeah, so I can have my property back?
I mean, listen, I'm not trying to be difficult. You guys might remember, some of you that know me, I pushed for an audit in the past. Until I got elected and I looked at our budget and I had to pay more attention than I had to. And I said to myself, we got between $50 to $70 million, whatever the final number is going to be. You know what's going to happen? Remember what I'm telling you today. We're going to talk about the audit. We're going to talk about this moratorium and what it's going to cost us to sue the state, which is, I'm sure it's going to be at least $1 million. And then we're going to look at a millage. And I'm telling you, because I know how these things work, instead of saying we're going to do this much of a reduction, well, now we can only do this much. Because where are we supposed to get the money from?
Yeah.
So when you're bickering about $25,000, but you're okay with spending
$1 million?
more than $4 million, I got a problem with that. But what do I know?
So do your residents.
Yeah, they absolutely do have a problem. So you were kind of going to the same place about whether or not it's the audit or the moratorium. What happened with that water audit is we missed a step along the way, which was when you put a plan like that in place, you're supposed to have a document that tells you what the plan is, how that audit is going to be conducted. What does that plan look like? What are you going to be looking at? Why are you going to be looking at that? And if you have that document as a stakeholder, you're able to go back to your auditor, your consultant, or whoever, and basically do some tweaks. Tweaks is my favorite word, I guess, tonight. And so that because what you're trying to do is you're trying to make sure that what you get in the end is something that you can march forward with and actually make some changes. We never had that as part of that audit, even though I talked about it back then. So now, change subjects for a minute, this moratorium, if it's voted, again, where's the plan for how this moratorium is going to be administered? What are we going to be looking at? How soon are we going to be looking at it? Do we need to, because actually 9 months, because we took out the impact fee study date certain, so right now we're going with 9 months, I believe. But 9 months is not a lot of time.
No, it puts us right at a primary election, which is why this is unpolitical. Did you think about that?
No, because
Yeah.
Instead of doing what's right,
I can't.
figuring it out.
That's why I'll never be on the dais, because I don't go to the political side and I don't want to. But anyway,
And that's a problem, because good people like you won't do it because of what it does to your family, your life.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
I mean, he's been asked 1,000 times. and
Because,
it's like-
yeah, it started off with them asking my dad. And then eventually my dad got to the point he was like, no way. And then it rolls down to me and same thing happens. Like, no way, because I'm not going through the political crap
Terry,
that happens.
We, as residents, we love our city. We can't allow that to deter us. You think I like seeing people send me pictures?
We'll have that
of my daughter?
conversation another day.
Seriously, I see pictures of my daughters all the time that people
I-
post. People talk about my wife.
I know.
There's things about
I
that
know.
child isn't yours, it's another person's.
I know. I know.
The
Well,
DC trip-
if
you wanna talk about
if
the
there
DC
is some-
trip? Hold
if-
on. You want to talk about the DC trip? Let's
No.
talk about DC trip.
No.
That was
Right?
crazy.
No.
$1,800.
Is this
We
being
spent-
taped?
Hold on. We
Is this
spent-
being taped?
Yes, we spent $40,000 investigating $1,800. I want you to think about that for a second. And then I drove in a car, instead of taking a $700 flight, I drove and spent $40 in gas. My wife went with me, well, what's the difference in how much she weighed and how much did that affect the gas? Are we really gonna go there?
Oh my God.
I stayed in a hotel room, which is why it was $1,800, the total cost of my trip. Well, did your wife go with you? Yeah, my wife went with me. To a trip where, by the way, did you see our state budget? Did you see we're one of the few cities that got 2 items approved? How do you
Yeah,
think that
no,
happened?
yeah, no.
You showed up.
At
Yeah.
the Sunshine Ball that they had in DC, which
Right.
nobody paid for because it was given to elected officials and other folks at no cost. I got to speak to the Speaker of the House. We had a great conversation. That's how you do these things. You know,
I
you can't
know.
sit here. When I got
I
elected,
know.
my goal was I want to put Deltona on the map, for good, bad, or ugly. I want people to know we now have a great relationship with our county. We gave our city manager direction. Every 386 project, there needs to be 2 projects put into place. There should not be a single one that gets skipped anymore. Anytime ECHO things come up, 2 projects need to be submitted. When was the last time we got ECHO funds? It's been years.
Yeah.
It's been years. So we need to build relationships. This
Actually,
whole-
we didn't finish something and we had to give some money back.
That was on Fort Smith. That
Yep.
Blue Heron.
Yeah, Blue Heron.
So the point I'm trying to make is you don't build relationships by saying.
No, you don't. No, you
You
don't.
have to go out. Do you know that we have? It started off at $33 million. It's down to 31. Federal funds that we're getting for the city. It's passed the Senate, the U.S. Senate. It passed the U.S. House.
Yeah,
It is sitting at the Army Corps of Engineers, and then the president signs it.
yeah.
You know how much money the city of Deltona has ever received from federal? 0.
Yep.
This is historic.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen by me sitting on my butt here. Listen, I get it.
Although, let me ask you, don't we pay a lobbyist? Isn't that what the lobbyist is supposed to do?
Lobbyists only does state stuff.
Oh, okay.
And even then,
All right.
you call up Georgia and she'll tell you, when I go up to Tallahassee and I go with her and talk to people, it's a big difference when you're talking to, for example.
Oh, yeah, it
councilors.
is. No, yeah,
Well, you can talk to them in your district.
yeah.
The chair-
Well, and plus which, nobody can tell your story like you do.
Well,
No.
the chair of the committees aren't always from Volusia County.
Yeah,
And you need to build relationships with all these other state
right. I
reps.
understand. So let's go back, let's go back, because this is what I'm really, really concerned about is we have to have a plan for this moratorium to make sure that history doesn't repeat itself. I know, so what are we gonna do?
Call another workshop?
What is there to do? SB 180 listen, if it doesn't get signed, I'll fall off my seat.
Well,
If SB 180 gets signed,
It's-
there is no moratorium. Anything that hits
Okay.
within the 3 regions gets set back to August 2024.
I thought
There is
I
no
thought we were
moratorium.
considering the moratorium so that we would be protected if SB.
There
See,
is-
this is why we needed,
No.
this is why, like,
If we
with-
do it before July 1st, it just gives us the ability to sue the state. This is what I'm trying to avoid. All the years that I've been busting my tail, along with some of the others, to build good relationships with our legislator, the moment we sue our state, go talk to another city in our county.
well, no, I don't want to see us sue the state,
That's what we're
no.
talking about.
Well, then somebody should have put it in writing and put it in a benefit and risk analysis so that everybody could see it at the same time and not have to listen to everybody's doggone emotions and close off your ears so that we would all understand what we have to risk.
Listen, they have done that. We have spoken about that on nauseam, and some of the comments from 1 or 2 people have been, so what if we lose $3 million? We can sue the state.
It's really tough to see,
Because
to
you're
follow
losing
the,
not
follow
money,
the ball.
You're losing 10 years of relationship building.
Right. It's hard to follow the ball, but,
Bingo.
yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, all right.
Anyway,
I appreciate you all for coming. I'm glad you guys came. My business cards are back there. Terry can attest that sometimes it takes me a little bit to answer, but I do. I get to it, I promise. Actually, Larry can attest to that too, because he sent me some emails. With your emails, Larry, believe it or not, I do read them, but I actually forward them to our to Jordan.
Good.
That's what I do, because there's too much information there that I don't understand. But I will tell you, for example, and I'll be quick about this. We have changed some stuff in our code, and I will take credit for this. For example, when you can build 1 house per acre, but or let's use 10 acres. 1 house, you can build 10 houses in 10 acres, but 6 of those acres are wetlands, then you see that people trying to build 10 houses in 4 acres, right? We've now changed that to buildable acres.
Thank you. If that would have been in
Thank
the
you.
code,
So,
my house would not be flooded.
That was one of your suggestions that came from that. So that's how we get things done. It's doing things like that.
right.
So email me. I usually get back to you. And there's a cell phone number there. I'm just gonna ask. I put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Those that know how iPhones work know that all it takes is 2 calls, one after the
And you
other.
go
It
through.
breaks through. I've had residents call me 3 in the morning. 7, 8 times.
Put it on mute.
And I'm sure it was an emergency, right?
They wanted to know if I was a registered Republican or a Democrat. You can look that up at the thing, and I think everybody knows what party I'm already affiliated with, even though this is a nonpartisan seat, it's so ridiculous. But anyway, so it's
Just
back
put it on
there.
mute, it won't ring through.
No, I leave it in my office now. Every night, my house is my home office. I leave it there. It doesn't bother me. I can hear it distinctly, but I just.
That's why I still have my house phone, because when I turn my phone off, if you really need me, and then you better call my house phone.
Oh no, I have my cell phone, and I have 3 emergency contacts I can break through. My wife, my mom, and my dad.
Yeah.
That's it. Sorry for my siblings. I love them, but I got 2 little girls.
Like, who's first?
So, yeah. All right, guys. Thank you for coming. If you have questions, I'll stay for a couple minutes afterwards. So thank you, guys.